Hello friends and welcome to another BeeZee web tutorial. Today we're going to talk about how to create a password protected folder for Windows 10 and how to create a folder that can mimic some sort of protection for you. This also applies for older versions of Windows. You can get the full script directly on our website and download it from there. For now, let's open our folder locker.txt. This is created under Notepad. Please note that this is a variation of an existing script that other people have already developed. I don't know who the original author is, so whoever you are, thank you for the script. Okay, so first things first, we're going to create the restricted folder, and for that we use this first section of code. The folder will be called, in this particular case, restricted. You can change the restricted to any name you want in all instances of the script. So here, title folder is the name of the folder that we're going to be working with. In this case, restricted. If the folder restricted doesn't exist, then go to mdlocker to create it. You can optionally create a password to lock the file. To do that, all you have to do is just uncomment this and change your password. Next, for the locking confirmation, we have the yes and no options. So do you want to lock the folder? You can change this to are you sure you want to lock this folder? We can change that to however we want it to. And the options, we can also change them. In this case, Y and N. If it's in a different language, you can also change it. So that's truly up to you. The next one, this over here, is the error message. So in my particular case, I just decided to go with a little bit of a sarcastic note, which says you're supposed to type either yes or no. So once the action is done, so it just confirms. All right. Now this is where it locks it, or rather it converts this into a hidden folder, an operating system protected hidden folder. Okay, so ren restricted, this is the name of our folder, control panel, la 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 la, and everything else, it just tells how exactly it is going to be handled by the operating system. In this case, it's going to be hidden and is protected by the operating system. Once the folder has been successfully locked, you will receive a confirmation message. In this case, folder access is restricted. You can change that to whatever you want. Now we go on to the unlock part of the code. The message to prompt for a password. Now this is where you can tell what exactly it is that you want to display to prompt for the password. In this case, enter password to unlock folder access. Simple and to the point. Set /p's password. This is to tell us this is the password. Now the next one is where you have your password. Okay, so where it says your nifty password, this is where you're going to type in your password. We'll just call it password. Once that's done, then it's going to do the unlocking message for successful for the folder unlock. Your directory is unlocked, and end the script. However, if you failed it, it's going to give you a message. In my particular case, wrong password, try again. Simple, to the point. But most of the time, the script is just going to terminate and close it. mdlocker This is the one that is going to create the folder in case it doesn't exist, and this folder is the one that is going to be handled by the script to hide the information that you want to secure. And the message to display: unsuccessful folder lock, echo restricted folder created successfully. Okay, so that's pretty much what you're supposed to be doing over here, and it's a very straightforward script, and you don't really have to worry about anything else beyond that point. Alright, so once you're done, you save as, select all files, and you'll name it as folder dot whatever name you want, .bat. That's for batch. Okay, so you're going to name it as a batch file. So this one is just a v2, so we'll just name it v2. No real reason, I'm just changing the name of it. At this point, this folder locker v2 bat already works, and this is what it will do. Let's actually go for the folder locker.bat. It's exactly the same thing, and it does exactly the same thing as the v2. So do you want to lock the folder? Yes. Note that Y, capital Y or lowercase y, they both work. Alright, notice how my restricted folder disappeared. So that's pretty much what happens. Now we're going to do the same thing with the folder locker v2, just to show that both scripts work exactly the same. This time we're using it to unlock it. So since it notices that the folder restricted is locked, then it's going to ask us if we want to unlock it. So for that we have to enter the password. Please note that the password is not hidden, so whoever's behind you will be able to see it. Let's go a little bit more in depth. So we mentioned how the password protection is useful for this, but it's also very visible. For that we're going to actually use a separate tool which is called the BAT to Exe Converter, and it's included inside our zip file under our download section. So just enter it. You don't need to install the full version, just the portable is fine, and select either 64-bit or 32-bit based on your operating system. If your BAT file wasn't already opened, you would go to File, Open, and select the BAT file, whichever one works. They're both exactly the same. Okay, so once it opens, you can see a nice coding structure, and you'll be able to better identify everything that is going on inside of your script. So notice that everything that is in purple is commented out. Everything else will have the proper color coding. Everything can be deleted past step 2, so just don't worry about it. Preferably, you can create an exe file by converting this batch file into an exe, and that is definitely a more convenient choice. This particular tool that I'm using allows you to use a few extra benefits, like adding an icon to it. Alright, so I found an icon file over here, and this is the one that I'm going to be using. Next, and this is totally optional, is that you want to include information about your file. So in this case, let's just call it 1.0.0.0.0. Product version, let's just call it 1.0.0.2. It's up to you. And product name, you can call it whatever you want, but in our case we'll just call it the folder restrictor. Original name, this is optional, but we can put it as folder locker. Internal name, folder restrictor, will lock and hide your private data files inside your desired location. Okay, so simple and straightforward. All right, company optional. Trademarks, if you have any, this is totally open source. Private build, special build, comments, everything else is just optional. Back on track over here, I included some troubleshooting information, some information about the permissions, so you can make this more secure if necessary. Request administrator privileges, as I said, it'll just pop up the window. You need administrator clearance to run this file. So if you check this, you can create a password. So in this case, it's already warning me that the caps lock is on. So if I enter the password and I lock myself out of it, well, that's what happened. So turn it off and enter whatever password. In this particular case, I'm going to put 1 through 9. Okay. Once we're ready, we just click on convert and we'll just name it as test locker. Simple, right? Alright, so test locker, save. Here it tells us what's going on. Now please note, on this particular script, this batch file, my password is your nifty password. So right now we have double protection. The password protection on the exe and the password protection inside the batch file. Let's go back to tests, and here's our test locker with our custom icon. Okay, and when you hover over it, you'll also be able to see the information that we entered for it. If we right click on it and click on properties, under details, we'll be able to see the description of the file, what type of file it is, the file version, product name, product version, if it has any copyright, any trademarks, etc. And here are the security preferences, compatibility, etc. So that's just for your reference. Now let's run it. If you have an antivirus, yes, of course, it's going to run it and try to verify that it's something safe. Don't worry, it is. So once it identifies that it's safe, it will relaunch the file, and now we have a password prompt. The good thing about this password prompt, you are not able to see what's the password anymore. So, okay. And now we have the double confirmation for the password. So do you want to lock the folder? Yes, lock the folder. Now let's run it again. And this time we're going to unlock the folder. Enter password to unlock the folder. Remember, is your nifty password. And there we go. Now let's change the name of this folder to show you a little extra. So 2. Alright, so let's just call it adding a random letter, and let's run the code once more. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, and see, since we didn't have the restricted folder, it created a new one. So every time the folder doesn't exist, it will create a new folder. This is useful if you're adding this same script to a different folder, to different locations and everything. So this exe file is already able to do everything you want it to do from the get-go. So you just copy paste, replicate, and change the password as needed within the batch file. You don't, since the batch file is already located on here, it's not going to be shown anywhere. So let's move the test locker inside of the of another test folder. All right, let's just call this test 2. Since this is self-contained, Once we move inside of test 2, when we run this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, it's going to create another restricted folder. So we can have restricted inside restricted. So just make sure that you safely protect all your information, and you're ready to just enter whatever files you want inside of this restricted folder. Alright, now let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Alright, do you want to lock the folder? Yes. Alright, so our folder is hidden. So if we actually want to see the protected hidden files, so under folder, file explorer options. Okay, so we have over here the option of hide protected operating system files. Apply, and there it is. This is our hidden folder, and notice that it has that weird string name. That's pretty much how it's going to be changed, named. Once we unlock this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, enter the password to unlock. The folder name is changed back to restricted, and that's pretty much how this works. And now you know also how to recover your folder and your files if you ever lose the unlocker file. Okay, so let's see, apply, and okay, that way our protected operating system files are hidden once again. Okay, so just play around with it a little bit. Just make sure that you don't transfer any files until you are ready to use this. Just rename all of the information. If you have an icon file, you can definitely just use it. I think it also works with PNGs and JPEGs. I'm not sure, I haven't tested it, but just play around with it a little bit. Alright, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to password protect some of your restricted files and folders, and how to slightly add more security to it. Keep in mind that if you are inside of a work environment, your information can be found by your system administrator, so this is just used for mostly home use or your private computer whenever you're traveling, just to keep some information safe. Use it at your own discretion, and this is provided as is without any other warranties for it to work aside from what I've shown you. If you make changes to the script and you break the code, you can always refer back to the same file and download it again as many times as you need to, and redo the whole process and read the instructions carefully. I've added plenty of information in the file, as well as some troubleshooting tips and tricks for getting this to work. I hope you liked it, and if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or want to see any other type of tutorial, please write it down on the comment section or email us privately. Thank you for watching, and see you again on the next tutorial.